My first real estate broker, Phil Petrozelli, he taught me that attorneys were deal killers. Sometimes they are, sometimes they're not. But I'm going to suggest that in short sales, they're very, very important for several reasons. They're the main cog in your team. They're going to hold things together when things look to be coming apart. When you choose your attorney, and I can't emphasize this enough, you need to go out and choose your attorney before you need them. And I'm going to talk more about that later in the training. But there are several characteristics that I like my attorneys, when I'm setting up my short sale team, to have. And they're listed here on the right side of the slide. The first and most important one is that the attorney own a title company. I need to have a lawyer that knows his way around a closing statement, that knows his way around getting things done and getting things closed. If he has a title company, he also has a staff, which when we get down to the bottom here on this list, you'll see why I like to see if they have a big enough staff to help us. But more importantly, they have to own a title company because they have to be familiar with closings. Second on my list of important characteristics for your attorney, that he has short sale experience. Not every attorney has the patience to deal with this sort of stuff. And in my mind, and in my experience, if you can find an attorney that has a title company and short sale experience, you're well ahead of the game. Number 3 on this list, consumer protection practice. Consumer protection also includes foreclosure defense. If they have this, it's a bonus. Because the fact of the matter is, any attorney can make an argument about anything. As a matter of fact, you can go to lunch with them and they can make an argument on both sides as to whether or not you should have mayonnaise on your sandwich. So you get the idea. Just being an attorney, they know how to make an argument. But if they're experts at consumer protection, then they'll already have the statutes that they need and they don't have to do any research and things of that nature. So it's going to make life a little simpler for them. Lastly, as a characteristic, I'd like them to have a staff, obviously, but in a perfect world, they might even have an available staff member that could serve as our short sale processor. Now, that's a perfect world, and that's a lot to ask, but it's worth asking, because if they have that person in their staff already and they're already paying them something, this could be a win-win for everybody. Now, who hires the attorney? The way I like to run my short sale business is that I'm the one that goes out and selects the attorney, but I'm not the one that hires the attorney. My client, who's also the borrower or the homeowner, though they can all be interjected and intertwined, they're the same person. We want the attorney to be working on behalf of the client. It just helps us that the lender is eventually going to find out that the homeowner is represented by an attorney. It's a much better way to go, and it just gives better optics. Okay, so if you're going to select the attorney, you're also going to have to set up the interview. You also have to refer your clients to them. But more importantly, at least to the attorney, how's he going to be paid? Attorneys generally can get away with charging a fee on the closing statement for representation of the homeowner during the short sale process. I've seen this fee as large as $3,500. And what's interesting about the fee is that not only will it have to show up on the HUD, as will the real estate broker's commission, but I rarely see short sale lenders try to take too big a bite out of the attorney's fee. But I can't say the same for real estate brokers. Their commission is going to be in play. If the lender wants to reduce something, or if they're going to minimize the commissions and things that they're going to pay, it's going to come off the poor real estate broker. Just so you know. But there is volume. There's volume in numbers. So if you've got a business that's going to create volume, when I get to the broker, and I think he's on here next, we'll talk about that. But they're going to get their commission chewed up, where the attorneys are generally not, and they're going to be able to keep their fees pretty much unscathed. Also, the attorney will get paid for the closing. They'll earn the fee for title insurance and the little bit of fluff fees that they include on the closing statement to help pay their staff. Now, all this about the attorney is dandy, but there's one thing that they can do in this short sale process that they will certainly be worth their salt. And what that is to make sure that they get a release of the mortgage or a release of the debt against the borrower versus just having the lender release the lien on the property. You see, if the lender wants to maintain the rights to, at a later date, try to seek a deficiency judgment against the borrower, they'll only have to release the lien or the mortgage lien against the property in order to enable a sale. If this happens, it's not good for our borrower. As a matter of fact, it's terrible because one of the items that I teach in your borrower presentation or your homeowner's presentation is to let them know that there's a good chance, and there is, that you'll be able to relieve the burden of a potential deficiency judgment against them. But this may come down to the lawyer. He may have to go to the judge in which the foreclosure suit is pending and in their lawyerly way explain to the judge, we've done everything we can do. The foreclosure needs to be dismissed, which it will be, but we're asking the court to enter judgment or enter an order that requires the lender to not allow them to seek a deficiency against the borrower, the attorney's client. I know there are some states that either prohibit or are silent on this idea of a deficiency judgment. You'll have to check to see what is accurate and current in your state. However, either way, it's an important piece of the short sale puzzle, and it's going to be an important item for you to point out when you make your initial presentation to the homeowners, because the lender's inability to seek a deficiency judgment is one of the staples of your presentation. All right, I'll see you on the next slide.